Welcome, Idell Conaway, to the Uptown Gallery at 296 Wall Street in Kingston.
And your name, sir?
My name is Kerry Henderson. And
are you the owner of this gallery?
I'm the owner of the gallery.
Excellent.
Gloria Waslin is a curator.
Yes.
But so welcome to the gallery and your new show here. The Underwater World of Idell Conaway.
He did it.
I did it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I
so
love it.
maybe just talk a little bit, tell us a little bit about your work.
Okay. Well, I started when I was pretty mature. I started traveling around the world, and I took up scuba diving. And it really surprised me that I loved it. I was so afraid that I would hate it. And
Had you always wanted to scuba dive?
No, but I always thought I should try. But no, I thought I was too old and too tall and every excuse that I could come up with.
So what did it for you?
Seeing the minute I got down there and saw the color and the animals.
So where were you?
I was in Australia.
In Australia, where in Australia?
And up in Cairns area.
Oh, beautiful.
The Great Barrier Reef.
So you were on vacation and you just decided to take a scuba diving lesson?
Yes, because they offer these resort courses. And so I took one.
Right.
And it was fabulous. I just knew then that it was fine and I could do it. And I never stopped.
And you were photographing other things
at
the
yet.
time?
I'm not photographing yet. I was a photographer.
You're a photographer.
Yes, that's right. But not underwater. And I couldn't wait to get home and tell my children about what I saw. So I decided right away it was time to get a camera for underwater.
Yeah.
And but I came back to New York and took, the pool courses and learned how to scuba dive.
Right.
I learned how to, ditch and don or whatever you do.
In New York City you were doing
New York
this?
City.
Wow,
yes,
right.
Yes.
In the public swimming pool?
Yes. And so
there's not too much to see under there, right?
Not at all. It's pretty gruesome.
I can imagine.
And whatever
and
whatever
there's a show
fears
on
you
that
may
too.
have, you really have in a pool. But because you're not seeing any beautiful creatures,
Right.
you're not seeing these colors.
Yeah.
So that's basically how I started, and as fast as I could. Then I decided I had a full-time job in New York, but I worked for a German company, and they believe in giving you lots of vacation.
Oh, the Germans are great like
they
that.
They are wonderful.
Yeah.
So I would go on a lot of trips, and then and take photographs.
Yeah.
And bring them home, and the company loved the photographs, and they were buying and selling office buildings, and they would put my photographs in their office buildings to sell them. Well, in the lobbies.
Well, they were smart.
Oh, did I ever get a start though? That was great. Yeah. So anyway, I was lucky enough then to get a show at the Museum of Natural History.
Yes, I heard about that. 2 years almost.
Almost 2 years.
And a solo show at that.
Yes, it was a solo show. It was the best thing that ever happened. And I've had a lot of other shows, but around the country.
Yeah.
But the best one probably is the Philippine Center on Fifth Avenue, several times. And because I dive in the Philippines, they were very interested. So it makes a nice relationship. And that's the Consulate General.
So how did the
Philippines
connection come about? You were diving in Australia at the beginning. You learned you got your taste for diving.
That's right.
How were you fascinated with the Philippines, or you thought that would be a great location
Not yet. I just
for your
started
underwater
diving.
pursuits?
I wanted to go to all the great dive sites.
Oh, right.
So I went, and I was a solo traveler in those days, which is really neat. Kind of, you leave all your baggage behind, and you just kind of take it in stride.
Yeah.
And so I went all around the world, actually, because of this German company that paid my bills, and I never got to the Philippines till I'd been to the Red Sea and Borneo and a whole lot of places, and I finally got to the Philippines, and then I realized that was really home. In the sense that it's easy diving, you're not going out there and into high currents and losing your boat and not knowing if you'll ever get back, and And I just stayed with the little family, and they had a little resort, and I went there every year for maybe, I don't know, 15 years. And I grew up, the father was a diver. He taught all the police divers in the Philippines.
Oh, really?
And then he passed away, and so I ended up with his son.
Right.
And now his son's sons are my dive masters.
Wow.
It's fabulous.
So most of the works in this exhibit are, or all of the works are from the Philippines?
But this one picture over here. Everything is the Philippines.
Yes.
And all of these wonderful dive masters are on Facebook with me. So we keep going, you know, and I haven't been back now for 3 years, but I'll go this year.
Right. And what's the prognosis for the animal life in the Philippines after Fukushima? I heard. Does that have an impact there?
Everybody is denying that it does.
Right.
And I don't know. I'm terrified myself.
Right. Have you heard any reports?
I watch it a lot. It's supposed to go everywhere. You know, it's also airbound, of course. We may have more here now in our air than they have underwater, but it's a terrible thing. Now the Philippines did some bad things to begin with. Forgetting about Fukushima, the fishermen started using dynamite to bring up the fish to the surface. Well, it did. It killed everything, but it also destroyed the reef that supported the fish. So a lot of us have been a part. I've just came in later, but Lynn Funkhauser is very famous for getting in there and trying to work with the Philippine government to reteach the fishermen that in the long run they're destroying their own future by destroying the reefs. So now they've stopped using the dynamite, thank goodness. And now we've got Fukushima. So I don't know, but up until this time, the Philippine reef stayed very, very healthy, unlike the Maldives and a lot of places where it had, you know, it's global warming. The waters got too warm, and they whited out, bleached out, and now they're coming back. And the Philippines now is still very, very good. I mean, it's a fabulous place. It's the new thing now, I think. It's suddenly become discovered for divers.
Well, your photographs are just so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Well, I think I'm very lucky to be there at this time.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I don't know what the future holds.
Absolutely, and your record's invaluable, and it's just a testament to wildlife and the world and humanity, and
oh my God,
it's so important.
Thank you so much.
So welcome.
It was wonderful to be in your gallery, and I think this gallery it stands up to all of the things you're talking about right now, trying to encourage all kinds of things with you know, conserving the world.
Conserving the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.